Yes, so we are live. Hi, welcome to the Fool's Fate and Tawny Man Trilogy discussion. Today we have two new guests. I will let them introduce first before going forward. Ben?
Hiya, I'm Ben the Overlord. I'm potentially starting a new channel, but it's my first ever live stream. But I'm so excited because I loved Fool's Fate so much.
Yay. I'm Stephanie. My channel is Mr. Troots Reads. Read pretty much a little bit of everything, but I'm really excited to discuss this one. It was just,
Yay.
it'll be a good discussion.
Yes. So we are still waiting for Evie and Pete. So meanwhile, we can start discussing your non-spoiler thoughts and what did you rate the book and why it is not 5 stars.
5 stars. Just
5 stars.
so good.
Yeah.
If I could give it 10, I would give it 10.
Yes.
Yes, it is Ben the Overlord.
Is this your first live show? Is that
Yeah,
what you
first
said?
ever.
It's
Oh,
such a
that's
good one to
exciting.
start out on.
Yeah,
Hi, everyone.
Hi, we have Channing Tatum here, K Fox here, Neeru, Chadia, Bridget, everyone almost.
Oh,
There's lots of familiar names here in the chat, so hello, everybody. Yeah.
Everyone saying hello to only Ben and Stephanie. Derri,
That's because we're
became
part of the
cold.
furniture, Anika.
Yeah.
We're part of the furniture. You've made it as a Robin Hobb content creator.
Okay, Ben, let's start with you. Your non-spoiler thoughts.
I absolutely loved it. It was my favourite book Hobbs done so far. It was the perfect conclusion. If this was the last book in the series, I would be happy because it was just everything felt neatly tied off, and I'm excited to see where it goes next. But that was just that was fantastic.
It's me.
Okay.
Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. Sorry.
Now, how about you,
Okay.
Stephanie?
I really, really loved this one. Before this book, I would say Live Ship was my favorite, even though I've loved all of them. But this one made it really, really hard. And now I think it just depends on the day. But like Ben said, I thought everything was tied up so well. And it took me a while to recover, but in the best way. I think that should be your new Discord name, Evie. The problem.
Hey, I'm not the latest one. All right, that's the problem.
Look.
It's the problem now.
Setup was a bear, all right? It happens.
Hey, I'm the one who had to get up at the crack of dawn. It's 7 a.m. here.
Oh
No
goodness.
excuses. It's not the earliest I've got up for a Hob stream. Don't worry about it.
But it wouldn't be the same without you, though. So
Well, it's
True.
I can't help myself. Basically, I will glom on to whatever's going on in the Hob world. So, how were your thoughts? Because both Pete and Evie, you've sort of both. I know you've only just finished, Pete, and Evie, you finished a little while ago now. But how did you feel when you got to the last one?
I'm already I literally had to tear myself away from this to come to this live
I
stream
know.
and get ready for this live stream. Oh, it's so good. Anyways, yeah. So non-spoiler overall thoughts of Fool's Fate. It is when I originally finished it, I thought it was 99.9% perfect, but I hated the last 150 to 200 pages. I was so angry, and I felt like it was not justified, but everything up until that point was absolutely perfect. And it was just so emotional and action-packed and incredible, and at that point, I finally understood why people love Tawny Man so much, because up till that point, I was like, I don't understand why everyone's like, oh, Tawny Man's the greatest trilogy of the bunch. Because I was like, it's fine. Like, I mean, obviously it's not bad, but I didn't understand the like awe of it until Fool's Fate, if you exclude the final 150 to 200 pages from my original.
So,
Okay.
unlike,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Pete, I just want to, tell everyone, look at my name. Look at my name. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, proceed.
I was about to attack Evie as well for saying that. So, you're not alone, Anitha. So, unlike Evie here, I loved the last 200 pages of this book. They were phenomenal. And that is objectively correct, because we all know that objectivity exists within very, very, very elite people's minds. So yeah, Evie, I'm sorry to tell you you're wrong.
And just
I'm with Evie on that one, and I do not claim objectivity at all.
Well, I mean, I will say that I'm a little further on, so my perceptions have changed given context of the wider series. So I think I will add that that's something that Hobb continues to do well, like just limiting to Tawny Man and to Fool's Fate, like what she does and is able to do by weaving all the threads from Farseer and Live Ship and make it so seamlessly built into Tawny Man, as if like, I don't know if she plans this stuff out like so meticulously, but it feels so natural and so like this was gonna happen all along. And she ties up the themes of Farseer and the themes of Live Ship really well, while still like adding to Tawny Man, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I agree.
And
But what are your thoughts, Anita? Clearly you're okay with that last couple of 100 pages.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely okay with it. I mean, there are things I love it so much. I mean, it's just brilliant. I was like, oh my God, how I'll touch your feet for doing something like this. And there are a few things I did not care for. Okay, I think maybe we can get into spoilers, because whoever are here obviously read the book. Okay, before getting into characters, I'll just jump right ahead into it. There is this incident after Fizz and Fool's trauma, after Fizz waking Fool up. After all, that was so deep. I was like, they were both dealing with their trauma, and then immediately after that, there was this scene that Eliana's mother is doing some drama that she isn't agreeing to wedding, and I was like, okay, now at this point, I don't care. So
Yeah.
those small things I did not care for at the end, but it was very, very well done. All that tying up from Farsi, Live Ship, Tawny Man, everything. I mean, we can clearly see that she wanted to end the series here. At the same time, she definitely gave some open, threads.
So I have a potentially unpopular opinion.
oh no.
While I am happy for Fitz, I really don't care either way if he ended up with Molly. I've never been fully on that train.
I agree.
Or Rick and Molly. OTP. Okay.
I'm happier with them than Molly and Fitz. I think it's just because Molly and Fitz didn't really have, I mean, they were like babies. And then so much time passed. So I didn't like hate that part, but I would have been okay if it didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that Fitz got a happy ending.
Like so that was the part particularly that I was very frustrated with, is while I didn't mind Molly and Fitz ending up together, it felt unjustified, which, taking a step back from my own like anger, I'm like, I get it. Fitz is telling his story. He's gonna breeze through stuff and like whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like I need another, 200 to 300 pages to justify Molly seemingly like, oh, Burke is dead. Now I'm gonna go with Fitz. Like, it just felt too quick and like too much of a slap across the face of the memory of Burke.
Evie, last night after finishing the book, I finished around 12:30 in the midnight. I could not fall asleep, so I started calculating how much time passed after finished.
Yeah, no, it is
This is the way.
past, like it's years, and I totally get it, but like I felt like
It doesn't feel like it.
But at least an year passed, so I am
yeah.
okay.
But still, like, Burke, his memory deserves so much better because he was the better man, and everyone knew it.
He was.
Okay, before continuing, I just want to. Neeru is saying there was some stuff she really wanted to see. Neeru, can you please elaborate on that? What did you want to see? Also, I also felt that, if this is the ending, if there is no other series, Rainwells and all, I don't think we got more background on Elderlings, and we did not get more details on skill magic. Who is that guy's name? Jade. I hated Jade. We'll get into that when we come to character. Oh my god. Jade just started reading them. So I hope we get these two things at least in the next series. But I'm really surprised that Hobb was ready to close the series without giving those details. That's the only small thing for me.
I think at that point it wasn't the realm of the Elderlings. Thinking back, I'm trying to remember. I think it was just the Fitz and the Fool series. I think the realm of the Elderlings has been given to it later. I don't remember when it got its overarching title, but it didn't begin that way. I know that, and yeah. So because I remember not being surprised at all that I didn't get more of that. Yeah, so I'd have to look that up.
I think with that, I think the skill, and because the skill is such kind of like in the middle between like hard and soft, like there's elements of the skill that require wonder and elements of the skill that require like there's this, okay, we know that what's her face, Hempra or whatever, friend, we know that it's possible for somebody to skill into somebody and basically like talk to them. Like there's such this line between just like, oh, the wonder of the skill and then the problem solving of it, that I think that with everything that we've been told, it's essentially served exactly what it needed to be within these series. And the same with the Elderlings, because they were supposed to be like the Elderlings represent to me both the mysterious past and the I guess the mysterious future of just like the ancient race of, ooh, what was that? And that was so wonderful. And then she mirrored it with the whole, this is going to be the future. And it's going to be it could be such an interesting time. And I think it's interesting with the Elderlings that while maintaining that whole mysteriousness with the little that we got at the end of this series and at the end of Live Ships, she kind of switched it from a utopian idea to maybe this isn't going to be like as utopian as we think. This is kind of like that's kind of like a naive, with the Fool kind of telling them, oh yeah, there's going to be like battles and stuff, and it's not going to be like happy-go-lucky all the time because the dragons are arrogant, but there's still going to be a check to the humans and they're not going to destroy everything. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting that she switched from that utopian idea to no, there's going to be some conflict in the future between humans and dragons. And I think it's so interesting that from a certain point of view, the fool can look like the bad guy for that, because he was like, hey, I'm going to put you guys in a world where humans are going to die because there's dragons in the world. More humans are going to die.
Yeah.
It's either that
I've
or...
had some really interesting conversations in Discord with people who believe that Fool is the bad guy and that the Pale Woman had the right idea. And it has been genuinely fascinating discussion to hear those views. And as you said, Pete, to some degree, yeah, that's true. Bringing dragons back, I mean, why would you do that when you know they're going to be competing for the resources? They're going to be really difficult to deal with in the future. And my argument ultimately came down to they were a part of the world. They deserved to exist, and bringing them back just rebalanced the equation that had been sort of upended to give humans the superiority. So, but it was a good conversation.
I mean, I think Fool is a bad guy when we see it from humans' perspective. Otherwise, if you believe that everyone has equal right in world, I don't think he's a bad guy. It depends on how we look at it. Of course, yes, if it happens to us, we obviously look from our perspective, and it's definitely Fool is a bad guy. It's easy to say. I mean, as long as it is fantasy, it's easy to say, okay, everyone should have equal right.
Plus, I just love the dragons, so I'm happy they're back.
What if it's like a Jurassic Park situation?
Oh.
Life finds a way.
Yeah. Now it's just Jeff Goldblum.
I think as long as dragons and humans can come to an understanding and coexist, there won't be a problem, and that's what Fool meant. That both one race, or what do you say? Is it race when we are comparing to humans and dragons? One cannot dominate. That's what Fool said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, we have that same comments. Yes, I agree. I am more. I want more Fizz relationship with Nettle and Patience more than Molly. I mean, I did not care. I was happy for him. That's all.
Yeah.
I will say I thought it was absolutely lovely that Patience found a way to give her grandchild Withy Woods. I thought that was just so clever.
Yeah.
And to know that she's going, because it's Patience, she's going to glom onto their lives and go, no, I'm part of this family.
Yes.
I was really happy for Patience.
And at the end, I'm really happy that she came to live with Fizz, and she's getting that feel that she's spending time with her grandchildren. That was really, I mean, that was one of my favorite moments in this book.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want her to live alone at the old age.
It's the bit where they meet her in the garden. I love that scene. Is just one of the best written scenes.
Oh, isn't it?
And it's that bit where she it hasn't clicked yet that it's Fitz, and then it's like it clicks, and then it's like, oh.
Yeah.
I remember reading that. I was on the
really
bus, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah. I really related with her anger, that she was so angry with him. That how dare you not tell me? How dare you make me grieve you for this long? I was like, oh, Patience. Oh, no, it's going to take you 40 years to tell me what happened. So you're going to have to start now, because I'm not missing out.
Yes.
And I just loved her so much in that moment. I was like, oh, Patience. Because,
yeah, you see, I mean, because you see that those glimpses of her trying to connect with Fitz in Farseer, and she's been waiting for this moment, and this, like, to be able to freely and truly just accept him and open up to him, and she's finally able to, and it's kind of funny and also, like, just so heartwarming and sad that like in this moment you have this anger but pure joy at the same time from Patience of like, how dare you not tell me that
and
you're
that
alive? What was
leaps
on
off
your
the
life?
page.
So yeah.
Because it is, you do get both
Every
emotions in that scene.
every
And
dialogue
he
from
calls her
Patience and
mother.
Lacey,
Oh,
yeah, every dialogue from Patience
Oh.
and Lacey, we can see love for Fizz. Even, I mean, whatever they say, they are scolding him, they are hitting him, whatever they say. I mean, that was some brilliant writing.
Yeah, and like I said in the chat, love that she always had a curl of Fitz's hair with her. That broke me.
Yeah.
And Fizz was shocked for that. He was shocked to believe that Patience loved him so much.
Well, I mean, Fitz doesn't believe that he's worthy of love from anyone.
Yeah,
that's true.
Especially, so finding out that the woman who is basically his stepmother, that he thinks that she resents his existence, to find out that she loves him as a son, as a true, like, from her own body son, is just...
Yeah, that she wants to claim him so badly as hers. And, I love Patience so very much, because she was never afraid to announce that to the world, that, no, she cares for this boy and she wants him to have everything he's entitled to. And yeah, I just, for somebody to be able to be that in Fitz's life, who is prepared to just openly say to the world, no, I love this person, I don't care what any of you say, is
And
so
after
incredible.
and after Barik's death, she was ready to announce to the world that Nettle is her grandchild and she's giving the property to her. Oh my God, such a beautiful person.
On the flip side,
Says the problem.
it's true.
I was going to say, how do you
side,
deserve that title, Evie? What are you talking about?
It's fine. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I absolutely adored the scenes of them traveling to the island and where poor Thick is getting sick and Fitz is having to care for him.
Yes.
I know it's so slow and nothing happens, and apparently people complain about it, like, this is what? It's just seasickness. I loved it because one, I love Thick, and two, Fitz really has to, like, he realizes the just the wonder of Thick, and
Yeah.
That was my next point, actually, coming to Thick. I mean, this is where I think we see brilliance of Hobbes' writing, because if it is anywhere else, if it is any book where one character is just complaining, I'm hungry, I'm tired, I don't want to walk, I would have thrown the book, actually. But Hobbes is so brilliant, I did not get annoyed even for once. I mean, even Thick is complaining. She showed us from his perspective. She showed us, even though Frizz is getting frustrated sometimes, he knows that, Thick is simple and he is not normal. I mean, we need to treat him with kindness, and he is good at heart. We see all that. I not even a single time I got annoyed from that.
And I love that he pulled Fitz out of his own head and taught him how to, like, compassion. It was just beautiful. And like you said, not a lot happened plot wise, but character development wise, it was phenomenal.
I also like Thick's relationship with Dutiful.
You go.
So yeah, I like Thick's relationship with Dutiful. I found their, like, almost brotherhood they had for each other, because I like it's how much they've grown since Goldenfill, because Goldenfill, everyone was kind of against each other at bits, everyone was all angry, and at the start of this one, everyone's like a functional little family.
Yes.
And then
I really liked how Fitz's relationship with Thick is a really good kind of almost a primer, a kind of a progression of somebody learning how to deal and value a relationship with an autistic person. Like the representation that Thick has there with literally his music is like, once you think about it, it's super on the nose, like, but like that really last scene where like everybody's dancing around him, but Fitz can hear the music that he's dancing into, and everybody else like think it's like, oh, he's offbeat, he just doesn't know how to do it. But he's like dancing to his own music essentially. Like that is such a beautiful picture right there of just like, hey, they're not, yeah, they're different, they're just like people like this, they just think differently, they're dancing to their own tune, and you have to learn to value the moments you have with them and value their perspective, because I think throughout the book it is shown that Thick is actually quite intelligent,
Mhm.
and he sees things that other people
I
don't.
liked.
It's great.
Oh yes, I love the portions that include thick, and I think it's another one of those shining examples of how Hobb gets people right. I think Fitz is, to me, he presents as somebody who has been born with Down syndrome. We hear about his physical differences. We hear that his mother was quite old. Nobody thought she was old enough. She was young enough to have a child. We talk about people expecting his life expectancy to be short, and the differences in the way he thinks. So for me, that's how he presented. He presented as somebody with Down syndrome, and there were moments in the book where, if it wasn't Hobb, I would have been frightened for how that was going to be represented. But it is Hobb. And we see those moments where you see Fitz telling Riddle, no, use his name. His name is Thick. And talk to him. He can hear you. Treat him with respect. And we have moments where Thick, he has those moments of insight, and unless you're listening for them, you don't catch them. But Fitz is listening, and he is paying attention. When Shade suggests that can we heal Thick, can we make him normal, and Fitz very quickly says he isn't wrong. This is the way his body is supposed to be. He's actually perfect the way he is. There's nothing to fix. He's not broken. And I loved that acceptance of who Thick was, and an appreciation that there's nothing wrong with Thick. We just have to learn to try and be on his wave level, and see what he's trying to tell us, because he had some really insightful things to say. And I think it was K Fox in the chat was saying that he taught um, Fitz to be in the moment, and that Night Eyes would have thought he would have made a good wolf. And I just loved those moments, when we get that voice of Night Eyes in Fitz's head saying, he's Pack. We should be looking after him. And I was like, oh, I just love everything that we got around Thick. I think it was just exquisite.
Yeah, and I think it's the depiction of not only Thick in Fool's Fate, but the relationship between Thick and Fitz is at least I hear a lot of the critiques of the Golden Fool is Fitz's treatment or thoughts of Thick on like during the book, that he is he is simple, and he's he's not like valuable, I guess, for lack of a better term. And you see that you see Fitz's growth, not only of his perception of Thick, but that relationship with Thick. And he's not only value seems like the wrong word, but he's valuing Thick for not for what Thick can do, which is actually a good contrast to what Chade values in Thick. Chade values Thick because of his power.
Mhm.
Fitz values Thick as Thick, and you just see that growth, and I love that. Again, character work, Robin Hobb, it's great. So
Yeah.
Okay, before moving forward, I just want to, everyone, all comments were about Barik Fizz Molly situation, so let's cover that because all top comments were about that. Neeru here is saying that Barik had to die at the end, thinking he committed this great wrong. Neeru, I mean, personally, I don't think so because Barik believed he was the better man for her. That's what he told Fizz. So he just want Fizz forgiveness. I think I don't think he died thinking he committed the great wrong. What
Yeah,
about you?
I don't think so either. Like
No.
again, they every single person knew that he was the better man, and
Yeah.
I think
I think even Fitz and Molly know that. That like they genuinely, I mean, they love Buck. I mean, let's get it clear. It's not that he was some stranger that stole Molly. They both love Boric for who he is. So I think it was more just that the guilt of the situation rather than the situation itself, if that makes sense. So yeah.
I think more than anything, Burke probably lamented not knowing, like not having like this intuitive sense that Fitz is still alive, like because he felt like from chivalry he was told to protect Fitz and take care of him, and so not having like this, how he was supposed to intuitively know that Fitz was still alive. You know, obviously there's rational brain and irrational brain, and I feel like Burke was like irrational brain, like I should have known that you were still alive, I should have come to you, I should have taken care of you. And there's this probably sense of failure, and maybe that's what Nero, maybe that's what you're kind of more going towards. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but yeah, that's what I think, like that's the failure there, or that's like the kind of lapse in Burke, in that he wasn't able to help Fitz through all these years with whatever he needed.
Although, can we take a moment for just the sheer perfection of when that reconciliation, that moment where Fitz recognizes Burke, and I don't know if I can even say the words, but no, I can't. It was just so beautiful.
Yeah.
This whole book, so many scenes had me like that. Just beautiful.
I mean, that moment where Barik can't even see, it's night time, but Barik was the one who first recognized Fitz and came to hold him. And that moment, oh my god, such a heartwarming moment. And Fizz immediately, because of because of Barik's smell, he recognizes and he was like, heart of the pack, now I can relax. Barik will solve everything. Like, as kids we think that about our parents, okay, now everything will be fine, mom is here to take care of us or dad is here to take care. I mean, that moment,
He's never led to harm.
That's such a beautiful
He's never
parent child
led
bond there.
We're just
and
all
you
going to
get
be
that sense
sobbing
of
by
relief
the end.
that you feel Fitz let go of his worry in that moment, because he can just sort of lay it and go, I'm okay. He's going to look after us. We're all fine. And it's so beautiful.
So, okay, we are so behind on comments. Let me just quickly how be more valuable and chose for another sentient being. Okay, I think everyone here is talking about the
Dragons.
Do we return dragons or not?
Yes.
Okay, I think we're on this, but I feel it will come. You can't have the same with fool and then not have anywhere near there.
Yeah.
Well, I think partly because we know at this point in the story, thanks to Jinna back in Fool's Errand, that the great love of Fitz's life is Fool. She gives that beautiful sentence when she's reading the palm of his hand. You have a great love and it travels with you. And if it's not with you, it runs beside you until you reconnect again. And it interweaves with your lifeline all the years of your life. and you're like, yeah, that's totally full. There's I don't know of many readers, if any, who assume that that's Molly in the moment.
Although I mean,
it's full.
although honestly, that could be anyone. Like, because I don't know, like, even if they are not physically there, Fitz still has this love of Molly with him and love of Burrick. So I don't know. I feel, yes, I do think that it's referring to Fool, but it really could be anyone. Because
As Fool said, there are different kinds of love. Fizz needs Molly and children to be content, to settle down because he did not have a family. So that's what he wants with Molly. But with Fool, it's completely different love. That their friendship, they being as one, that's not the same what he had with Molly. I think they're completely different.
I will say though, I did notice though, you mentioned family, how Fitz over the course of this trilogy seems to adopt more and more kids into his group. Because he starts off with Hap, and then he takes on Dutiful, Thick, Swift, Riddle.
You just,
Heck, Riddle might actually be part of it eventually. If, him and Nettle.
He's just kind of, he's Daddy Warbucks in it or whatever.
Yeah.
Getting all the orphans. Orphan
He's very
Annies.
Batman.
Yeah.
Okay, I think this comment is about Molly. That's what you said, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Is it about Molly?
No, that's
Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Jurassic Park line.
About the dragon, like just because the dragons could come back.
Okay.
Yeah. I also think that Fitz adopting more and more children is also kind of a continuation of the cycle that he started as New Burrick, quote unquote. Because Burrick has sheltered, like in Burrick's case, it was more like taking in animals as well as, Fitz and stuff like that. But it's still, even with Molly and, not necessarily taking Burrick's place, but looking after his children, like it's very much him becoming more of a protector, just like Burrick was a protector for him.
Yeah. This is bringing so many people together.
Bringing people together.
Exactly.
Depends of which character you love. Your loyalty will change. Who is whose best friend?
We all just love everybody because everybody loves everybody.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we are almost done with the comments.
Patience hitting shade with the fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
was so good.
We are anyway on topic. Let's talk about Shade. I'll go first because I have things to say.
You're allowed. You're the boss.
Shades, I like Shade. In Farsi, I liked him. Even, of course, he became more duty bound what is the series name? Tawny Man. He did not bother me much in the first two books, but in this book, it felt he became so single minded and obsessed with the, power and I don't know, maybe future of Six Duchess. I felt he's lacking that humanity. When it comes to Nettle, he keeps asking about bringing him. No, though he knows about his answer, and he doesn't care about Thick. Dutiful proposed to send Thick back. Fizz proposed to send Thick back, but Shade doesn't listen. Oh my god, so many places I wanted to hit him so much. And by like when they started going to that island, we already know that something will happen to Fool. And knowing Hobb, I thought at least he will she will kill minimum one other person. I hoped it to be Shade because I know it won't hurt me. I was like, I know, I'm so, I know, I'm
Nita.
so bad. I was like, okay. I mean, I was like, okay, if it is not like dutiful or barik, instead of them, shades is like, okay, of course it will hurt us because it will be from Fizz perspective. Fizz will cry, of course, and I will cry. But still, he annoyed me so much. Oh my god, I can't tell you. He's like another second villain to me in this book.
Well, I think you see Fitz a little bit older, and he's able to kind of sorry. Even though in Farseer he is respective. What's the looking at his life retroactively? Whatever the word is.
Retrospectively.
Yes. He's still like in that mindset of the age that he was in. And so in Tawny Man, I feel like because Fitz is older and he's retrospectively looking at his life like as an older man, not an old man obviously, but an older man, he's able to perceive people for not necessarily who they truly are, but less less kind of not, I don't know, more nuanced, I guess. And so he's able to see Shade as more that, like I think Chatty and Bridget and a bunch of other folks in the comments were saying, that political aspect that he's doing, because Shade has always been in the background doing, pulling little levers and taking all these actions as King Shrewd's assassin. And Fitz is able to see like that's such a big part of Shade's life that it's hard for him to even do anything else or think of anyone else as outside of that purpose, if that makes sense. So like he sees everybody as a political tool for the gain of the Farseers and the Six Duchies. So.
Because I think because he was the he was his brother's master assassin, he always feels like he's been used as a tool his whole life. So
Yep.
now he just sees people as tools.
Yep.
And I like how with this with Fitz, we're seeing Fitz can now see that he is really insecure. Now, like he is quite an insecure man, and I think although he was frustrated at all points, I can see that this is just someone who doesn't have confidence in himself, and thus they need power because that's what they think will fill the void. Because I don't think he could let people in.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's represented in his like longing to be better at the skill. Like, that's like something that he can't really do, and yeah, he grows, but it's something that really shows his insecurity there because he can't do that.
Yeah.
Because he is also really jealous of Thick because he feels Thick.
Yeah, you're right. He is jealous of Thick, and not least because Thick has this emotional connection that Shade knows that he doesn't with the people that Shade does care about.
Yeah.
But I think in being separate from the world for as long as he was, he's gained this sort of big picture concept of the Six Duchies. And because he can see everything from this outside perspective, it's really hard for him to put himself in that picture and be part of it. He always sort of automatically puts himself on the outside. And so everything kind of happens as a result of that and keeps him there. But you also do see that he wants those connections and he's trying to make them, but he has no clue how. So when he wants to claim a connection, he claims loyalty rather than love. When he wants to show love, he gives things rather than time. And he's not speaking the same love language as everybody else, I think, is part of it.
Yeah.
Okay. See, there. I want to
That's a good point.
add 2 points here. Actually, see, I do think Jade loves Fitz because he almost raised him. we can see those moments even in this book. At the end when Fizz was getting married, Jade cried actually that moment. And there are moments that
Mm.
Jade feels Fizz as son. At the same time, he's because of maybe his role or his or power hungry. Sometimes in the moment that part of him brings out more. Like when Fizz comes out of that skill pillar, Dutiful asks him, "Are you hurt?" But Shade asks him, "Where have you been?"
Hmm.
That difference is there.
Yeah.
And even when they woke up Icefire, Shade wasn't ready to, okay, why did you do that? He wasn't ready to listen. He was so, I mean, assured that Fizz did what Fool wanted, and he was ready to jump on Fizz. So though he loves Fizz, during those moments actually that's not what uh, we see first. What we see is his power hungriness and his control freak. He's such a control freak. And I do agree with Emily here. I do think sometimes Chade is jealous of Fizz. At the same time, actually, more than jealousy, I think since he raised Fizz, I think he thinks like he owns Fizz. Like some parents think that they own their kids. It comes from there, I think. And also, I think he takes Fizz for granted. Like I
Mm.
you should do whatever I tell. I can do. I mean, you're like servant. Like that taken granted feeling is there. I mean, I think it's coming from the same place where some parents treat their kids like they own their kids.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He cried at the Fizz wedding, so Neeru forgave him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Proof that Shade has a heart.
Yes.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of it, that he's so complicated. It's
Yeah.
just so much food for discussion.
Oh, so much.
Anyone else wants to add anything
Yeah.
about Shade?
I saw in the
I
comment.
did like that we saw him. Sorry, go.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I liked that we had the moment where Fitz, Webb says to Fitz, look at him as an animal. Use your wit, sense him for who he actually is. And Fitz has that moment of clarity where he realizes Shade is an old man and he is fighting really hard to support his family and to do what's necessary to keep his family safe. And that the humanity of that moment where we see Shade just as a person, separate from all his machinations, separate from all of his ploys and schemes, and we just see him as a person. And oh, I really liked that moment.
Hmm. I liked what Bridget said really quick. I thought that was interesting. She said, Shade has been abused like Fitz his whole life. The only love he has had was through his devotion to the crown. So expecting him to
Yeah.
change that in his old age isn't realistic. I thought that was an interesting
Mhm.
Yeah.
food for thought. And that's stuff I don't really think about until I look back at it later. And then it's like, oh, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. See, I'm not expecting him to change. All I'm saying is, there are some moments where we see that power hungriness or his
Mhm.
duty, him giving more priority to his duty
Mm.
than his love or him having his heart. So that single-mindedness sometimes, because he's a spy, he is supposed to be intelligent, he is supposed to consider every perspective and give the right advice. But when it was first time when it was proposed that a dragon should be saved, he got so angry that you want to save the dragon. There, six duchess and outer islanders. This is the main thing. He wasn't ready to listen. That's what bothered me more.
Mhm.
It's how like pig-headed he was with it, where he was so focused and he wouldn't listen to anything else. It was very much, no, we're killing this dragon.
Yes.
Yep.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey,
And-
Hi,
Julian.
Yolene. Yeah, I think part of it is his duty kind of is his love for his family. That's how he shows his love for his family, is making sure they have all the best information, making sure that the Six Duchies has the power, making sure he's making these connections to the benefit of the crown. It's part of how he shows his devotion, his love, his care for the family. So in that moment, all he can see is Fitz working against the bloodline. All he can see is Fitz doing something that isn't about strengthening the crown. And I think that's part of why he just got so entrenched in that moment, where that's the wrong thing to do and we're here to kill the dragon. It was an emotional reaction that came out as this very fixed political stance. So and that's the beauty of Hobb. You can see that there is emotion there, even when he's seemingly not being emotional. It's yeah. Crazy.
Hi, Austin. Hi, Andrew.
Andrew.
Hey, Andrew. Hey, Austin. So yeah, there's so much.
Okay.
There's always so much
Oh.
that we can discuss with Shade, because he's very multifaceted.
Yeah. It's also interesting because I feel like that duty blinded him, specifically like in that moment of when they were like, "Oh, let's kill the dragon," or "Let's not kill the dragon." He's like, "No, we have to kill the dragon because this is going to be what's best for the kingdom and stuff like this, and this is what's going to be best for the crown because we have to make this alliance." And it blinded him because, like, in that moment, and this was part of my slight frustrations throughout the book of just like, I see these things and I see like how I felt like I could see where a lot of these things were going, like diplomatically. Like, okay, if you kill this dragon, it's going to piss off the rest of everybody and the war's going to come. And what are you doing? You're trying to get this alliance and it's not actually going to do what you think it's going to do. And why are you just like, dude, come on, you're the thing. But like, he was just so blind to that he got this like bulldog tenacity. No, we have to do this because it's going to do exactly what they say it's going to do. And part of that may have been because he was blind in the Outer Islands. Like, he relied on his like spies and stuff, but also he's just like blind to duty.
He did, but there's also one out there that I really like, and it's similarities between Shade and Fitz. Fitz is just as stubborn. So was Chivalry. So was Verity. It's clearly a family trait where they do just go at things sometimes like a bull at a gate. And they all had moments like that. And so it's those little subtle things that I just love. It's clearly part of that bloodline to just become super focused on a thing and go with it. So yeah, I see that similarity between the two of them.
I mean, projecting a lot of myself onto all of these characters, it's also like a defense mechanism. You have this, you kind of resort to or go back to something that is safe and something that you know. What Shade knows is the political machinations, the kind of maneuvering of things, and so he does that as a means to kind of, I don't know, that's his safe spot, so to speak. If that makes sense.
I think too, Shade and Fitz and everybody as part of this were doing that. I don't know if I'm using the right phrase, but is it a confirmation bias? I don't know. But they're assuming that the power structures in the islands are how they understand it. But because it's a matriarchal system, it takes them so long to click that that's not where the power lays in the Out Islands. And even when they register that, they still don't understand how that power works. And in not understanding how that power works, they have no clue how to travel within it. They're as said in the chat, well, let's see, they don't know. They're just lost as to how to interact with that. And that was interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's a very egocentric vision of how the world works. If this is how it is for me and my society, that's how it should work for that other society. I'm not sure, like, that's the phrase you were looking for, but like,
Yeah.
I did love those bits.
Definitely
though, 'cause
along
they
those
felt like they
lines,
were
yeah,
fish out of
would
water.
Yeah.
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 And is that maybe why they became so stubborn about things? Because they did feel at sea. They did feel like they didn't know what they were doing. So I'll hang on to what I do know. And the mission is we're going to kill the dragon.
Yeah. And it's very consistent as well, because if you remember, I think it was last book when was it Fool's Errand or was it the Golden Fool where the Big Town traders came?
That was
Golden Fool.
Yeah. So even then, and even with the Fool's disguise as a Jamilian noble, you can consistently see them being like, wait, is they don't we like can't understand how this works. Wait, they're governed by a bunch of traitors? Where's their king? Yeah. So they're consistent.
It's true.
Yep.
To answer your question, Austin, no, I don't think Ben has a channel, but maybe this is the start.
Yeah, I've
Gentle
created a
peer pressure.
channel. I've created a channel. I just have yet to film anything.
Yay!
I just need
That's
to
right. We'll all
reorganize
find
my
you now,
bookcase,
and you'll
and
have
then I will film it.
Yes.
guaranteed subscribers.
Okay. Anyway, we are on topic. I know Evie wants to talk about Nettle, but before that, anyway, we are with Out Islanders and how Dutiful has to share that Bridget was saying Dutiful started them in this trap. So let's talk about Dutiful and Eliania. What are your thoughts about them?
I really liked how it's just a reflection of the culture that Eliana grew up in, where it is a matriarchal society, and she at the end she's like, no, I'm making this decision, and we are, she essentially, what was her uncle's name? I can't remember her uncle's name or whatever.
Peter.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he was just like, oh, like, you shouldn't do this. She's like, no, I made this decision, I made this promise, and also, like, she happened to fall in love with Dutiful at the same time. So she made the decision not only politically and as a leader in her society, but also made that decision of the heart to kind of go along with the and continue the agreement to marry Dutiful. And I just really liked that. I liked how that ended up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was actually surprised she didn't give up the game sooner. Like, especially when her and Dutiful got really close during the Outis Islander wedding. I kind of felt like she was really close to telling him what was going on. And I was hoping she would, but no dice.
Yeah, I mean, I really liked Dutiful. He reminded me so much of Verity, and I liked how much he loves Fizz. I mean, when Fizz asks them to save Barik, when Shade wanted to think about it, Dutiful was like, "This is the first thing he asked of me, and I'm doing it. I'm giving it to him." I mean, Dutiful, yeah, he is young, he may be impulsive sometimes, but he knows his priorities. I really like that about him. And Ilyania, see, I understand, it was, I mean, of course, except this super spice Chade and Fizz, everyone, we all can see that, some pale woman kidnapped her mother, something happened there. So I did not hate Ilyana and Piotr, but when Piotr gave that elfba cake to Fizz, that's when I took it personally. No, this is like you went far. You
Yes.
shouldn't have done that. That's when I got angry. Only that moment. After that, even after saving that her mother and sister, after all that, even when they put conditions to the wedding, I got a little annoyed, but not more than that.
Yeah.
What about you, Ben? Stephanie? Because
I
I have things to
yeah,
say, but I don't want to cover
I
stuff if you're going to do it. So,
I really enjoyed him. I loved Dutiful. I liked his growth from over this trilogy and how, because he's been an only child, he's quite lonely, and thus he seems to, when he gets his friends, he gets really close to them, and I loved his relationship with Thick in it. Uh, I liked his budget and romance in this. I thought it was quite. I liked them two together because I liked their dynamic where she's a bit more stronger than him. He's always quite fun and like he's always trying to do the best thing, and that's what I just really enjoyed that about him.
Hmm. I agree.
Yes.
Yes. But I'm interested in what you were going to say, Derry. I don't have anything.
Yeah.
no, I.
You guys have already said it.
Well, for me, it's Dutiful and Eliana as a couple that fascinates me, because if we go right back to Fool's Errand and they were on the other's beach, there is the little necklace that Dutiful finds that is an enamel ornament, if you like, of Eliana as she is in her womanhood ceremony. And to me, that says, okay, so there is whatever the overarching, I don't know, destinies are, clearly that's a part of it. So there is already a connection between Dutiful and Eliania before they've even met each other. And they have this moment on her island where they see each other not just as the prince and the Narcheska, but as themselves. And they connect in that moment. And they see the isolation the other has, and they trust each other. He knows that there's something she's not telling him, and she knows that he knows that. And basically, she says, "Please trust me." And he does. He grants her that and goes, "Okay, I will trust you that what you're asking of me isn't something dishonorable." And so they form, I think, one of the healthiest relationships that Hobb writes, because there is that trust there. While it's not honesty, it's also not deceitful. And
Yeah,
as has been mentioned in the comments, Eliana's very much got her back against the wall. She has no choices here. She's going to be tortured if she does anything to try and pale plan. And the moment that she's free of that physical torture, she's prepared to tell them everything. Like, here is absolutely everything. It's all out help, basically.
Mhm.
And they do, because, she hasn't been being deliberate. Um, so
and
there
I
are a
think
lot
that's
of
the
dynamics at play there.
yeah, I think that's it's the because she hasn't been intentionally deceitful or anything like that, Dutiful gives her his trust until again, projecting here. I trust people until they prove untrustworthy, and she at that point was not, had not proved untrustworthy, at least intentionally. So
Yeah.
And everybody operates in different strange ways when they're under duress. Some people, they try to find every way out and they scrabble and they're like a cornered dog and they literally fight everybody. And some people just shut down and go with what they're told because they're so terrified of what they're doing and people finding out and everything falling apart around them. And I think that's kind of where Eliana's at, is she feels so powerless in the situation that she has to go with the flow and hope that everything turns out okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Bridget
she
was
literally
angry
has no
with
choices. And also, sorry.
Bridget is angry that she wanted Dragon to be dead, even though she knows that her mother and sister are forced. I think, I mean, it mentioned in one of that starting paragraphs in a chapter that how important for them to bury their bodies in their homeland. I mean, I understand your frustration, Bridget, but I am okay in accepting that in their culture it is very important for them.
And it's such a strong, it's one of their backbone pieces of their culture, this connection of women to their land. And earlier someone else was saying that they wanted Icefire's head on the hearth afterward, even, after all of this had happened. My response to that is, I think it's Eliania's mother just basically going, how do I nullify this relationship? How do I nullify this agreement that was made without me? Because I'm not okay with it. And they found a way around it. So I thought that was really clever. And the Eliania also you have to consider, and it does get brought up really nicely in the story, is that, and she's also giving up her role as the next mother of her house. And politically for her, that's a really bad move for her mother house. But she's going to do that for Dutiful at the beginning because of these threats and because of what the Pale Woman has done to them. And at the end, she's going to make that choice for love. She wants to be with Dutiful, and so is prepared to just go, okay, I abdicate from my role in my society and join yours. And I thought that was just so lovely. That was
That's
a proper
exactly
happy ending for me for that character.
That's exactly what Chivalry did, and it did not turn well for Farseer actually. So we don't know what happens to their family. So it is a big sacrifice. Charlotte,
Yes,
you
it's a
can
big
start talking about Dutiful.
I think Dutiful's obsession with
Dutiful
taking away
is the breaking of the cycle.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like, no more secrets. Don't keep secrets. Just tell everybody everything. Everybody needs to know the truth. Come on, chill out, you spy idiots. Come on.
well, I mean, that's true to his name. He is named Dutiful, and there's a sense of duty of like having everything out in the open. So otherwise, if you don't have everything out in the open, how can you stay true to your duty, not only as yourself but for others as well?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, we are almost ready to talk about Nettle, I think.
Yeah.
Ben, you want to say something about Dutiful?
No, I was more about excited to talk about Nettle because she is my favourite character. She was fantastic.
Okay, Evie, go ahead. I'm giving you.
No, I'll actually let Ben go because since she's
Oh, so I just loved how powerful Nettle was, and how, because she at first didn't really understand the power, to her she just thought it was a dreaming. So she was just open to just experimenting and seeing how. So I like that aspect, how with her and Fitz, where she's not afraid to call him out on things. Like, she will give him sass if he is like doing anything. And I like how it was frustrating at times with Fitz, but I loved it where Fitz was trying to do the best for her, but he wasn't thinking about she could handle it sort of situation. He kept on trying to protect her, where he should have at times let her just be who she was. But her and I liked her relationship with Tintaglia, because I absolutely adore Tintaglia. So anytime Tintaglia is impressed by a human, I'm just like, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I love Nettle, and I think I can't remember if it was in like the epigraphs or mentioned in Fool's Fate or earlier in the trilogy, but Shade was mentioning something about I think it was Shade was mentioning something about how skilled users not in a coterie could be very like volatile and dangerous because they're not controlled and they don't have that education around them. But you see Nettle as that solo skill user, and she's on the same level as Thick with her power. Like, she's just so powerful, and it's specifically in the dream skilling, and it's I loved those moments. Her ability, like, to just console and bring Thick out of it as she goes into his dreams as Thick as a kitten, and she just kind of helps him out. I know. And then just the scene, like, it's a really good, pun intended, bookend to Fool's Fate, where you start with the with her skill dreaming to Thick to help him, and then she skill dreams to Icefire to help, and everybody has to kind of go in and kind of, well, Fitz mostly goes in and has to piece her together again, and it's just so cool because she's so far away, but she's still so integral to everything happening. Oh, I just love her.
Yeah. And just from a writing standpoint, I thought the dream skilling scenes were just so visually cool.
Yeah.
And
I'm
just
not even
amazing.
Yeah, and I'm not even a visual reader, and I'm just like, again, power Hobbs prose. I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
I can act like it's so immersive. Not necessarily visual for me, but it's just immersive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I'm a very visual reader, so it was just uber cool for me just to geek out over this dream skilling. It was just, I thought it was awesome.
Thick and Nettle's friendship without even meeting. It's one of the beautiful friendships, actually.
It's so pure and wonderful and beautiful and sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And Thick hugs Nettle when he finally sees her in the forest.
Yeah.
Yes, when Thick finds her,
they're precious cinnamon rolls.
Yeah. I mean, and Nettle being able to nag Tintaglia to do her bidding is just funny.
Yeah. It's I can't. Was it in this book, or maybe it was in Golden Fool? My brain can't separate anything anymore. When she just like shoos Titalia away, like I think she turns her into a fly or a bee or a bird or something like that, and just
Golden Fool at the end.
There you go. And she's just like, go away. And I'm like, holy crap, Nettle, you are such a badass woman.
Yeah. She's one of those I appreciate more the more I think about her. And
You
her
know,
character art.
if she had trained in a court, actually, she would have been a formidable queen. Actually,
Yeah.
oh my God, it's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is my dream. What are you doing on my land?
Mhm.
Get out of here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
She's also like a great representation of how the humans can possibly counterbalance the dragons. Because I think at this point where the dragons are definitely portrayed as these powerful things that can charm humans and, swipe them up in a single strike, and their scales are impenetrable and they're like almost seen as invincible so far. But then we have Nettle just like, oh yeah, you're not the most powerful kid on the block right now in the dreams, and she's able to manipulate the dragons. So like it's almost one of those, she's like representative of the strength of humans just being her.
The sorry, the only thing I can think of right now is like, it's like when you see a bear, you're supposed to make yourself as big as possible to like intimidate them. So it's like, it's the same thing of like, don't cower in front of a dragon, just like meet them at the same level and just scare them off. Not even scare them off, just like intimidate them. Excuse me.
Yes.
And there's also like, there's a respect there. I think when Tatalia realizes like that Nettle has this power, she's like, oh, okay, all right, cool. You got power, so I
Yeah.
respect.
I like you. This is good. Yeah.
I'm still curious, like what Nettle and Tintaglia talked about, like when Nettle, like I think they kind of referenced that it was probably Tintaglia like grilling her about Icefire and if she knew him, but I'm sure there was other things that they talked about in that conversation, because Nettle is very much Weasley's the wrong word, but conversationally Nettle can weave in and out and like obfuscate what she's actually saying a little bit when she's being sassy.
Squirrely.
Yeah, squirrely. There we go. That's a good word for it. She can be squirrely in the best way in conversations like that. So I would love to have a bird's eye view of that conversation, if we're being honest. Downsides of a single POV.
Yeah, I feel like we need like a book with like behind the scenes short stories where we get to see all those little moments. I would be so happy with that.
It is a 800-page book, and we are not satisfied with the number of pages we read it.
Oh,
We need
Look.
more.
But that's
It could have
amazing
been-
though that we're all like, I could have had more.
It could have been double the length, and I would have been happy.
Yeah.
Well, it's like an interesting it's like an oxymoron. Like it feels like so perfectly, or so. I know I just said I didn't like the last 150 to 200 pages, but generally, Robin Hobb has this ability to kind of wrap series up so wonderfully, while still making you want so much more. And I think that's just because of the density of her world building, that it's not. It's also subtly built as well. It's not like, hey, here's this neon sign of this thing that we're not going to talk about, but we might actually, it's important maybe later. Like, it's just, there's no neon signs. It's just like, it's just so subtle and great and wonderful, and words are hard.
The epigraphs come pretty close to that, but the epigraphs were still like, I think the Farseer ones were pretty cryptic, to the point the Assassin's Quest ones were kind of like referencing other, like they were the Assassin's Quest epigraphs frustrated me because they were repeating information we already knew. I'm like, we knew this from the first book. Is this literally an epigraph from the first book? What's going on? But like the epigraphs in this book were
perfect.
phenomenal. Like favorite of the entire series, because we get letters from Patience, we get skill scrolls, we get musings on the Out Islander things, we get stuff from Chade, we get stuff from Skillmaster's Past, we get stuff. Oh my gosh, there's just so many good things.
Efficient. They are so efficient. They give us enough background to what is happening in this particular chapter.
And the poem from the Fool
Fool. Yes.
That hit me.
That killed me.
Okay.
Ah,
Oh my
Now,
god.
okay. Before moving on to Fool, I want to address this comment. Uh, I'm not sure if you have covered this before, but did you pick up on the fact that you have seen Fitz's real mother? I believe we have seen her in Farseer. Uh, if we have, I mean, in this book we have seen Fitz's memories, his mother calling him Copper, but I don't think we have seen her. Did we?
I don't think so.
I don't
I think it's just
remember.
in parts here.
Yeah, even if you're talking about Farseer, yes. I think we covered it in previous live shows. Yes. Okay. Now, if you guys don't have anything to say, let's move on to Fool. I think that's where
I
we need to
mean,
talk more.
there's always more to say, but
Yes, we will cover everything, but I don't want to keep Fool until the end until we get tired.
Yes, for time's sake.
if we tried to
Yeah.
get to everything, we'd be here for a few days. Let's be honest.
Yes. Yes.
I don't think she has choice there, Fizz. I mean, Chatty. I mean, it is sad actually. Even last night I thought about Fizz's mother. I mean, she lost her son without her consent and she came back for him to buckkeep. She cannot approach him. She was sitting on the road calling his name. Just so tragic. I still get tears thinking that.
Mhm.
Okay, full. Who wants to start? Everyone is silent.
Yeah, so I mean, we knew like he was gonna find a way to get to that freaking island. And that he was able to get to the island was very surprising.
Yeah,
But then when he's there, like that he meets oh god.
Procop?
Yeah, Prokop. There you go. I thought that was fascinating. Like that just so good.
I'll be honest, when the fool showed
I
up on
just
the
want to
island,
say
and he
how
was
much
like
of a drama queen is Fool.
very much.
Just standing there on the bluff, and I'm like, oh, very cinematic.
But we all
Such
eat
a
it up.
drama
We
moment.
love it.
And
That
he
was-
was
You
like,
know-
just I flew here, and I was like, wait, we haven't been introduced to like actual shapeshifters, have we? And I just missed it.
Honestly, like I thought he was gonna be like the fool and be like, my arms are tired, like do that type of joke. Be like, I flew here, my arms are tired.
When he said he flew there, I thought about dragon, but I did not imagine how he went there. That was like a shock to me.
Mhm.
Okay, see, I'll start with this. When Fizz left Fool, though I understand his reasons, I was little hurt actually. I was like, why did he do this to Fool? Fool will hurt. I mean, I was little unsettled with that. But when they were down at Pale Woman, when I realized what Pale Woman was going to do to Fool, I was like, okay, I completely forgive you, Fitz. I understand now. I mean, a fool shouldn't have come here. I was like, oh my god, that was the scariest. Oh my, I mean, I was so scared that Pale Woman will make him sit in that throne, that Cabal Roberts throne, and force Fool. Oh my god. I mean, it was happened, but everything that happened, and later what Hop gave was, what she'll give us something like she'll kill fool, she break us heart and she'll give us something, we'll relax and she'll punch us again, we'll relax and she'll punch us again, and till the end, that Fizz and Fool's breakup, oh my god, that was one of the beautifully written breakups I have ever seen actually. I know it's more than breakup, but to keep it simple, I'm calling it breakup
Yeah.
scene.
So I could only imagine how impactful it was for you, Derry, because you read it thinking this was the end, right? But like me reading that scene, knowing that there's another trilogy called Fits of the Fool, I'm like, well, it's not really goodbye. Like he's gonna come back. So I wasn't necessarily as like emotionally affected by that. So I don't know, Derek, if you could provide
Terrified as I
bring
was.
back to those days.
Relive it. Aw.
Oh my God, Evie, it was so terrifying. The first time it had just been released, it was really at the end of my first read, so all 9 in one go, and I think I tore something, crying hard, because it was the end. Fool had seen suddenly his the cold made sense. Suddenly all of these events, and I was just properly beside myself. It was the way that he killed and timid, and I properly, it took so long to read those chapters because I couldn't see the page, and carrying him so gently to find out, encountering the pale woman and her taunts, and all I think is I can't, because he hates the cold, and I was bawling so much. And then we get to the plaza up in the mountains and / rain wilds, and we have that sublime moment where suddenly the rooster crown comes into play. And I was like, it was like the second coming of Christ. I was having a religious experience because I then could rejoice in this life. And I do feel lucky that I can carry that level of emotion with me into each reread, because I do remember that level of grief in that first however many rereads I did before Fits in the Fool was brought out. And that just the sheer intensity of that new readers don't have, because they know that that Fool will be okay, I cannot tell you how deeply that hurt. Like, it really hurt. Those chapters, they were cruel. And and then to have polished it around so beautifully in the plaza, where we get that healing and we get that the understanding of PTSD, and just wanting to be close to Fitz but not wanting to be touched, and sublime.
Yeah, that's the only thing that saved me, was knowing that there were more books, because in my Voxer chats I was like, there has to be more. This isn't it, because there are more books. So I can't imagine, because it killed me anyway, and just not knowing if there was going to be anything else. Ugh, that would have been horrible.
I just want to quickly address this question. I think in Assassin's Quest, Fool put his memories inside a girl in the dragon. That's why he was able to wake her up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's, I kind of put a few comments in the chat, but like
Yeah.
essentially it seems like an either or. Like you can connect to them with the skill, or if you have powerful enough wit, you can also sense the memories and everything inside them, and you can wake them that way.
Yeah.
It's like two different ways of waking them up, because you either appeal to their primal side with the wit, or their memories that are within with the skill, if you have like a link with the skill, I guess.
Yeah. And specifically, the Fool and Fitz both put their own memories into Girl on the Dragon. So there was that much deeper connection in that they were literally part of Girl on a Dragon. So that connection was easier to tap into. So
Yeah, like now I don't think the Fool would be able to awaken Girl with Dragon, because he took his memories out and he kind of healed that skill, the skill fingers.
Yeah.
Oh, how did we feel about the Fool taking away the skill fingerprints on Fitz?
It hurt. It hurt. That entire, how many times I read and how many times I cried. I cannot tell you this entire, this beautifully written. Let me read that. You know, I knew I would die horribly in pain and cold, but I also saw the chance for the world to know dragons again. A chance for they to be creatures as arrogant and lovely as humans so that they might balance one another. I dreamed of world in which men could not dominate all nature and impose their order upon it. It will not be a peaceful world, and it may be that men will curse me for my role in what happened here, but it will be a world in which both men and dragons are so busy with one another that they cannot subvert all nature to themselves. That is what I saw in the great scheme of things. That was beautiful. At the same time, down, I can love you, Fizz, but I cannot allow you that I love you. I love to destroy you and what you are. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I mean, I must have read these paragraphs actually 10 times. I can sit and read again. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You can continue.
Yeah. No, that's all right. We can go on without you. You keep reading.
This is a safe space.
I liked the way
Yes.
that the Fool connected the relationships with Night Eyes, where he's gone, what you were to Night Eyes, I am to you. And Night Eyes didn't get his time really to see what would have happened if he'd stayed in a pack. Could he have led a pack? And I think he probably could have. And I got where Fool was coming from and going, I have to go away so that you can live your life to its fullest with me not around. Did it break my heart? Oh my God, yes. But I could see it. And I was like, I get why you would do that, because there is that love there. And it's like, no, I want you to be the most you can be to get the most out of your life. That's what you do for somebody that you love. And if you know that your presence is going to stop that, well, you leave. You get yourself out of the picture. But it was to have that removal of the skill connection. That was tough.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy, I have to say. I was
And it hurt more that they couldn't meet, they couldn't talk at the end. I mean, Fizz was stuck in the skill pillar and he couldn't go back. And when Fool came here to meet him, he couldn't. I mean,
in the
that
mist.
that was just heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
I think
But
also,
also, what a way for Molly to find out. You know, she's like, "Who's this Tom Badgerlock?"
so Chatty made a question. I think it was Chatty, or was it Emily, or who was it? It was Bridget. About when Fool gave Fitz his feelings back, and I think it's interesting to contrast this with Kennet and the lesson that the Fool could have learned from Kennet, and how because he was partially forged, as Derri has said, because he took the pain of his, like the trauma that he experienced and put it into the live ship. And it's just,
Paragon.
yeah, into Paragon. And I think, do you guys think that despite having lost his trauma, that there is a thing to be said that Fitz was still driven by it? Because that's what we see with Kenneth as well.
We see with Kenneth and what we see with Fitz are what they wanted that they kept. And what Kenneth wanted was control. He wanted power. He wanted to be able to create a life he's the safest he could possibly be. And that's why we end up with him wanting to be the king of the Pirate Isles. Whereas what Fitz wanted was comfort. He wanted stability. He wanted a home. And so once he found that, he stopped. He was just like, no, I'm good. I'm fine. And so he wasn't driven the same way he was before he lost those memories. Fall calls him on it at the beginning of Fall's errand. He's like, so you didn't even choose this cabin. You just stopped when you got here. Nothing has since changed. There's been no growth. There's been no desire to do anything or learn anything. And if Hap hadn't been brought to you, you wouldn't have gone seeking company. You would have just been here alone with Knights. And that gaining of memory, you see the life in Fitz come back. And if we go all the way back to Assassin's Quest, Night Eyes said it blatantly when he gave his memories to Girl on a Dragon. He pushed Fitz away and he said, I don't want to be bonded to a forged one. You must stop. So Night Eyes knew. Night Eyes was telling us right back then, this is what forging is. And what we see in Kenneth is how profoundly damaging it is to not have your whole self, to that inability to change direction, to change your mind with new information. And those are, I think, incredibly important. When we come to the question of consent, that's a different thing entirely. But I do think that where the pre-memory regaining Fitz would have felt violated, I think post-regaining memory Fitz is grateful. So, you know, whose consent are we asking? So, yeah.
I have a question
memories
here.
and identity, there's such a big theme throughout.
Yeah.
I have a question here. I mean, Fizz gave the memories only of his pain. If he, I mean, does it affect him to react only related to those memories or his entire life?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking, Anita.
Okay. See, he gave away his painful memories of Molly and Barik. He gave away his painful memories of his mother leaving him, all his pain. But he did not give away other memories and other beautiful moments, right? So does that affect his perspective or his entire behavior towards everything in his life, or only related to those memories? I mean, he may not be show much interest in Molly, that affecting him. I understand. I mean, does how did it impact his growth,
I think
or
what you need to
how?
remember is the specificity of the words. He doesn't give up the actual memory, but he's giving up the pain. He's giving up the emotion of that memory. He's taking away that emotional connection to those memories. So he knows that he loves Molly and he still feels love for Molly, but he's lost the rage that they could betray him. He's lost the pain of that betrayal, and he's lost the agony of that loss of both of them, because now he can't go back. And whereas with Kenneth, it was genuinely an entire loss of memory. There was entire chunks of his life that he gave away, which is why I think he is so badly traumatized and behaves the way. Fitz just has lost the impetus that emotion gives you. You know, it's emotion that makes you want to do things. You don't logically sit in your cabin and go, right, I'm going to upend my whole life because I miss that person. But emotion does. Emotion makes you go, do you know what? I actually do want that badly enough to upend my life. And the specificity in words is easy to lose because, a couple of sentences where it says, I gave the emotions rather than I gave the event. It's
Is
easy
it
to just
also
go,
the
oh yeah, I get what happened. And this is my advantage to rereads,
is it also the reason why he did not go to see patients? One of the reasons. I
Yeah.
mean, uh, okay. I wasn't
Oh, part of
comparing.
two, he was trying to be dead. He was trying to be gone, and patience wasn't going to let that happen.
Okay, I was not comparing Fizz forcing and Kenneth's forcing actually. I was thinking of Althea because Paragon took away her trauma. The amount of pain she is
Yeah.
feeling. How does that change her? Will it affect her as
Yeah.
well in his life, in her life?
Again, it's that specificity of language. And I couldn't tell you earlier because it's like, because so much of the context you get in Tawny Man is Paragon takes away the strength of those emotions. And I did actually discuss it with my therapist because it fascinated me. And I was like, what would that have changed in her healing? And ultimately, the therapist said it basically just shortcut her 2 years of therapy. That intensity of emotion, the pain, the shame, the sense of self-blame, all of the things that make processing and integrating that trauma, all of the things that delay that in a normal, in a factual situation, all of those things are still there. And she's just been shortcut over that intensity of the emotion. She's left the memory. And he deliberately says, I haven't taken away the memory of this. He specifically tells
Okay,
her, because that did
okay. My
happen to you.
question.
And so
Okay,
she just is a little further ahead.
Okay, my question here is, I'm sorry I'm taking over this chat. I mean, one last question. If Fizz giving up that pain affected him to feel good things too, Althea giving up that pain, does that affect her too in feeling good things?
I don't think so, because Fitz's memories were a combination of emotions where, he's feeling this pain and this anger and betrayal because he loves Molly and because he loves Burrick. But there was no positive emotion involved in the assault on Althea. All of those things are horrible emotions. All of those things are things that you need a therapist to help you through with because they are unhelpful in trying to heal past that. And all that Paragon has done is just take away that layer of intensity. He hasn't taken it all away. It's all still there, but it's at a level that she can deal with and a level that she can work with through and a level that she can talk to Brashen about, a level that she can talk to her sister about, that she can talk to her mother about, that she can process and integrate into herself as this awful thing that happened to me, but it happened to me. I didn't cause it. It's not my fault. And I don't need to wear any of that guilt or blame or shame. And that was really important for me, that when you said you were going to continue into Tawny Man, I was so relieved because then I knew you would get more context around what the forging had done and a better clue as to how that was going to affect particularly Althea's situation. So I'm really hopeful that that's been the case. So
Okay. Okay, sorry for hijacking the
no,
discussion.
No, it's a valuable. I think it's a
Yeah.
valuable
It
conversation.
Yeah.
to
helped
have.
clear up some things for me because I was a wee bit confused. So it's good to see have those questions answered.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I didn't really think about that until you brought it up. So that just gave me another layer to think
Mhm.
about.
it's a series I'm definitely looking forward to rereading, so I can see like all the the machinery behind it as I read and go, that's where that was mentioned, and that's where that was.
I always highly recommend reading.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely one where every time I reread it, I'll get something new out of it.
Okay.
I still do. I still find new things. And I still find, even been with new readers, that they will bring me an insight that give me more.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to bring attention to how much night eyes is there in this book. Actually, those are my favorite moments. When Night Eyes motivated Fitz to get up and move because Foolish depended on him, and later when Nettle was lost in Ice Fight's skill. Night Eyes is the one. Cub is in danger. Are you leave her alone? Do something. Get up. I mean, Night Eyes. Oh my God, beautiful, beautiful. It reminded me of. Is it a spoiler to mention last season of Game of Thrones? It reminded me of Ned in last season of Game
Yeah,
of Thrones.
I haven't seen it,
Neither have I.
so
I've
it
I've
won't
seen the
bother me.
memes.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough. Yes.
Yeah. I'm horrible
Okay,
at predictions. I just want to spend more time with my favorite
yeah.
characters.
I hope we get more Malta because I love Malta. So if we get more Malta, I'll be very happy.
Hmm.
okay. Unpopular opinion. I don't want to see any characters we have in life ships. I want a completely new story. I don't want a trigger of those horrible
Yeah,
memories. So I know we are going to see some characters. I just hope we spend less time with them. That's all.
yeah.
Hmm.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I am excited to see new characters as well because Hobb writes characters so well that every time she gives us a new character, I'm like, yes, give me more.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to see Althea again, but I understand what you're saying, Anita, as well.
Actually, I know
What about
Althea
you,
spoil
Pete?
already. I already know Althea spoiler. I googled it when I finished Ship of Destiny.
Oh no.
That's all right. I needed that actually for my own peace.
Anita. Mm,
It's okay. I googled
I
only
know.
that. I mean,
Pete, what are you looking forward to?
Um, I don't know, because like this was like such a good ending, and I think with Rainwild, I'm excited to see more dragons, even though I know that they're going to be kind of like sickly and stuff like that. It'll be nice to see check in with some of them, but I get the feeling that a lot of the events of Rainwild already happened by the end of whatchamacaldoodle. So it's interesting by the end of Tawny Man. So that'll be interesting. Fitz and the Fool, I do kind of hope that we get to
No.
see Fitz's or the Fool's school though.
It's still after the events of them.
Okay.
Oh, it does. It does kind of continue on beyond Tawny
Fair
Man.
enough. With all of you, I know that all of you haven't moved much further. I will say that being aware that this was the planned end of the series is important to know. I think being aware that there is a significant period of time where Robin Hobb wrote an entirely other series is important to know. And that when the first books of the Rainwild Chronicles came out, they came out between the release of The Hunger Games as a book and The Hunger Games as a movie. So publishers were screaming for YA content, and she had handed them a book full of teenagers. So they split that book into two and padded them. So the first two books are one story with adding of teenagers. So the whole hate I think that Rainwild gets is a combination of all of those factors. So going into it aware of that will make a difference in how much you enjoy the Rainwild Chronicles. So with managed expectations, you should enjoy Rainwilds because they are still really good reads. And oh my God, the lore that you will get and the world building will get will blow your minds.
That's what I'm
Just
looking forward to.
We
Yeah, I'm
Is
excited
more
for
with
that.
the lore. Yeah.
I am completely okay with reading YA. I think it personally helps me. I needed a mellow read after reading this
Yeah.
depth of feeling, this depth of emotions in Fool's Fate. But I just mm, hope it will be mellow. That's all. Don't want to say more than that. And coming to Bridges' comment here, I really like that she showed a good ending to Starling. Actually, Hope, really. I mean, I don't hate Starling. Yes, she's not my favorite character. At the same time, I don't have
I do.
hatred towards her. I'm glad Hobb ended Starling's character in a good way.
Yeah.
Well, you're a better person than me, Anita, because I am not a fan of Starling at all.
It's a talent to Hob. Actually, I completely give it to her because if I see that kind of person in real life, I would hate that person. But somehow Hob made me see a different perspective. She showed me Starling in a different light. I can see why she made those choices. I don't like what she's doing. At the same time, I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, we have different here perspectives here. Some people are not on Malta train and some are Malta train. Chati,
I
Chati, I will kill you intro if I see him again.
Same actually. The boy is trashed by the end.
I don't know. I mean, I cannot see. Actually, you can all have bettings.
Yeah.
Actually, you have seen, you all have seen my meltdown during the Ship of Destiny discussion. So you can all have to do betting. What my feelings towards Rainwell Chronicles? How I am going to react?
Yeah.
am very much looking forward to hearing those in the chat.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
We will see that.
Yes.
I am hoping this is my anticipation. I'm very much looking forward to know more about elderlings, more about skill, more about dragons and serpents. uh, I can't wait to read about them, and I'm looking forward to read more about Rainwild people and the choices they made, the sacrifices they made, everything.
I just want to see Icefire be happy because just this whole going into a coma because he's depressed. I was like, oh no, sad dragon.
I know.
And it's that whole bit where I'm like, there is other dragons. Wake up.
yeah.
Tentacle is alive.
Yeah.
Oh my god, Chadia, not again. Not
Oh,
again.
no.
I'm just recovering. Please.
No, nothing
But
to that
it's
same
Hob,
extent.
so is that really a new thing?
Nothing
though?
to that same extent.
Okay.
You've gone through the worst, Anita. That live ships is the most. That's the biggest. That's the pinnacle of difficult. Um, and you've already done that, so you're fine.
We're
You
on the
know,
downward.
hoping for the Derri. Thank you. I mean, thank you all for being there for me, actually. And Evie, we should. I'm planning to bring Andrew and maybe not together, Andrew and Nico not together for each book. One of those books, we will see. We can fight with him on live.
That would be
Peter,
hilarious.
you're on mute. You're on mute.
Wonderful.
Yes. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what I think about it, but I'm going in because people have told me to temper my expectation. So I think I'll have a better experience.
So I kind of want to see Andrew and Evie on a live show together fighting about this.
That would be like a 3-hour live show of just fighting.
I'm fine with that.
And
Like,
it would be
go.
amazing.
I'm just gonna sit there in the corner, just like
Bring the
Big chaos.
popcorn.
Yes.
it's fine.
Okay. Did we
Thing is,
forget
we're
to
giving
discuss
Andrew a
anything?
lot of grief here, but Nico's opinions are just as wrong. And I had many things to say to Nico.
Shots
And
fired.
Discord. That was when I first discovered there's a character limit in Discord. Anyway.
I saw your comment, but I missed what Nico said, which got you so angry. What did he say?
Spoiler.
Okay.
Okay.
I can't even remember now, but he was he was not happy.
One of us will find it and tag everyone else.
I do think it's in Andrew and Nico's Discord, right? Because I think I remember seeing like this wall of text from Derri, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Wow,
I
That's
specifically
a-
went there. Yeah.
this wall
That's
of
amazing.
black."
I know, and it's so frustrating because I'm like, I need to
I had
know.
thoughts. I needed to share them because he was wrong.
Bridget was so angry when Charlie suggested that go and steal more.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know for what Charia, but thank you. Oh, thank you.
That's amazing. Wait,
Okay.
Nico doesn't like Fits in the Fool either. I've been avoiding spoiler anything after that. And one of the
Nick.
comments said he doesn't like Rain Wild or Fits in the Fool.
Both of them, all 7 books
mean,
they
hey,
don't like.
It's good that there are differing opinions, but there's differing opinions and there's wrong.
Right. Because I've only heard good things about the last trilogy, so that just really surprises me.
For
You know.
many people, last trilogy, especially last book, is one of the favorite books ever. But
Yeah.
Andrew didn't like it. Niru, we are reading next month Dragon Keeper. I mean, 1 book per month. After Rain Wells, we'll give 1 month break and then Fizz and Fool.
Okay,
So-
good.
So we're starting
February Dragon Keeper.
this month
February.
or February.
February.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
People
My
wanted
TBR,
1
thanks
month
you.
break after Fool's Fate. So
Well,
Fool's Fate
wait.
was supposed to be December. So this is break month.
Okay. We all needed a little break to heal.
You know, I started a book
I do
last
always
time.
encourage recovery time after Fool's Fate.
Okay, what are your predictions for Fizz and Fool last trilogy? Do you think Fizz will profile new thing and come back to me? I mean, Fool will see new vision and come back to meet Fizz?
There will be bees.
There will be many tears. I see myself on the floor hugging the books like a child. Yeah.
I'm thinking happy ending, hopefully.
We already got
Bittersweet.
happy ending here,
Yeah.
which is surprising.
Yeah.
Look, the only way we can go from here is rocks fall, everybody dies, obviously.
Or maybe dragons will eat everyone.
Yeah.
Ooh, dragons fall and everybody dies. That's a nice one. That's a good one.
That's hilarious.
Okay, did we forget anything about Fool's Fate, Tawny Man? We are everything is a spoiler. Please, I mean, if you don't want spoilers, I'll suggest you to leave.
I think there was like 5 minutes at the beginning that was like no
Yeah.
Yeah.
spoilers, and then everything else.
Okay. Did we cover everything about Fool's Fate and Tawny Man? I mean, everything until Tawny Man. Please remind me if we miss anything.
There's probably more, but like again, 3 days.
Okay. Will I ever see you again? Yes, Bridget. They that entire scene actually one of the beautiful breakups actually.
Ooh.
All the length of your years is all I'm going to say to that.
Yeah.
Aw.
Neeru, you won't believe when I have last 30 pages left. I read a page. I took a break. I read a page. I didn't want to finish. I am sure that last book I'll read for a month.
We're gonna have to have a full support group session.
Yeah.
And then we'll be able to watch all the content.
Yeah.
All the random spoilers talks that Derri and Evie have that I look at and I'm like, I just want to watch
You
this,
will.
but they're like an entire series.
I know.
But then you can join the conversation, Pete, and you can be creating the content that no one can watch until they've read all 16 books.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. Or like Neeru said, immediately start a reread.
Yeah,
I might have to switch between like
I
Malice.
highly
and-
recommend
and,
rereading at least one time.
Absolutely. I can guarantee you I will. So I might switch between like a Malazan reread and Realm of the Eldlings reread over the next few years.
Oh my
Bye,
goodness.
Chatty.
Bye.
Okay. I'm in the mood, so I want to read this last paragraph. Please bear with me.
I feel like this is so solemn now. Like,
I miss him often, but in the same way that I miss night eyes. I know that such a one will not come again. I count myself fortunate for what I had of them. I do not think I will ever with bond again, nor know such a deep friendship as I had with the fool. As Barik once observed to patience, one horse cannot wear two saddles. I have Molly, and she is enough for me, and more. I am content. What a powerful last paragraph. I mean, with that last line, she made us feel content. Oh my god, Hobb is so devious. So devious. I mean, it doesn't matter how long she punched us. It's like she made us read that I am content, and she made us feel that content
well,
feeling.
it's like you said, Ben. It's like a punch and a
I
hug.
complete
Yeah.
goodness.
She wraps her arms around you and then just punches you.
Yes.
She makes us feel so much pain. How dare she make us feel joy too?
Right.
You know, that's her strategy from the beginning. Even in this book, we got that chapter where pale woman started forging fool. We were so shell shocked and heartbroken, and she next minute she gave us that beautiful reunion with Barik. We were like, oh, Barik, we forgot about.
Yeah.
That whole bit
Oh
with
my
the pale woman was like whiplash for me because the minute she appeared, I was like, "Oh my god, I love her. She's great." And then it's like, "I'm going to start forging the fool," and I'm like, "No, you can't forge the fool."
Ooh, that reminded me to talk about pale woman. Why? That's all my question.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which
we have seen that Prilkop, I mean, they all want to do. I mean, is she not the white prophet? I mean, is it because of something she did she became fake prophet, or she became fake prophet. That I mean, she got that power taken from him. That's why she became like that. Did I confuse you?
So, from my impression, there was a little bit about like why Prilcop is darkening, um why the Fool is darkening, and they mentioned it's because they made changes and that they kind of changed the timeline, so to speak, or helped the changer change the timeline. And it actually points like first off, I think the whole like there can only be one is a myth. It's just kind of like a thing that they've developed because they've only found one at a time until the two of them, and that the two of them have these visions, and in the end there can only be one. And the fact that the pale woman is still pale is an indication of her failure as a white prophet and a catalyst and the use of her catalyst, because the fool became the golden fool. He turned Tawny because he had successfully accomplished something with Fitz in Farseer, and then even more within Tawny Man, he got darker because he successfully changed the timeline into something that was better. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, kind of, kind of. I do we get, don't answer, Derry. Other four, other three. Do you think we get any background on Fool's school or their white prophet something?
Other than the fact that it was like elderling blood. Was it elderling blood? I think it was. No, it wasn't elderling blood. It was something.
It's nothing related to Elderling, I think.
Oh, that's right. It was like
Yeah.
like there was these immortals that Procop was one of, that they were like, we're gonna mix our blood with these humans, and so the Fool and Pale Woman are half bloods.
Sorry, Emily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope we get more background on that as well, because it seems more like almost a cult a little bit, just like
Yeah.
they're like, ooh.
Is it the same? Is it the same priest we have seen in Jamalia, or Windrow went to school, or different one?
Different one, because I think the school doesn't actually believe in a god, if I remember correctly, and they're far across the sea. Remember, like when they had the map in the globe,
Mm.
like there was waystones like all the way across the sea where Fitz was thought the sea was endless. That's where the school
Yeah.
was. I'm pretty sure.
They mentioned the name actually, something with C. I forgot the name.
Yeah. Thank you, Fantasy, for all these names.
I'm just
Derry.
here for the ride. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final thoughts? Did we? I think we covered pretty much everything. Oh, how funny is Barrick's children's names?
Swift and nimble and just.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hearth, just steady.
He's continuing the royal line, because I don't think there's that
Yeah.
many people outside of the royal line that name their kids like that, right?
I don't think so.
It's exclusive to the nobility, mostly.
Yeah.
And Berg's like, screw you. I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah. And let's face it, there are some pretty weird names. So, hey, why not? And at least those ones aren't quite so on the nose as some of the others. So,
That's true.
Neeru, I think it's kiss as a sister. He asked, "Can I kiss my new sister?" I think
was-
like kiss on a cheek. They did imply Nettle and Riddle actually, because when that was funny actually, when in the epilogue he mentioned that Riddle was more familiar with Nettle, so when he tried to intervene, Molly said, "Mind your own business." That was fun.
Mm.
Nice.
Okay, Terry.
Yeah, I was just thinking that Molly, I think, had a far greater grasp on nettle riddles. So she's like, don't get in the way of that. Just
Nice.
So we also the scene with Thick in the ice slide, amazing.
Yeah.
Had a little tear.
that was so lovely. Yeah, it was very in the moment. Night Eyes would have done that, but the simplicity
Night
of that
Eyes.
moment and just allowing yourself to have fun.
Night Eyes would have loved Thick. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. That still hurts. I'm not even gonna lie. Every time she brings up Night Eyes in the books, I'm like, too soon.
But I do like how Night Eyes always appears when Fitz is at his most like Fitz, where he's making mistakes, and the Night Eyes is like, go and just fix your life, please. Do something, please.
Yes. Yes.
I really like that.
I quite infamously, seriously, Night Eyes is the brains of that operation.
Yeah, definitely.
I really like that Night Eyes became that reasonable voice in Fizz's brain. That
Yeah.
was amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay, any last thoughts, final thoughts? Chat, any theories and predictions for final trilogy or Rainwells?
I feel like this chat is like a Midwestern goodbye. Anybody gonna want to do a knee slap and be like, well, I gotta be
Yeah.
going.
Yeah. Okay, then. If we don't have anything to talk or if we are tired,
Well,
let's see you all.
Yeah.
What happened?
oh, Pete did the knee slap.
Well, guess I gotta be going now.
Oh, no. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
That was fun as a
vibrated.
first live stream. We had a great time.
Yeah, happy to have you, man.
Yeah. Congrats on your first stream and hope we'll, see some videos from you.
Yeah. I need to tidy the area and then I can start filming.
That's awesome.
Okay. Have a fun rest of the weekend and see you next month for
See you later.
Dragon Keeper chat so that we can all keep some dragons. Bye, everyone.
See you later.
Bye, everyone. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.